Welcome back to the InvestTalk classroom. I'm Justin Klein.
I'm Luke Guerrero.
And today we're going to talk about deferred sales trusts. And these are an alternative to the very popular 1031 exchanges, which a lot of people use to defer taxes on real estate. And deferred sales trusts are a little bit newer, but just as seasoned. And they are used in multiple instances, not just with real estate, but can be used with businesses as well. And they have a lot of potential for people that have big capital gains exposure that they've deferred throughout the years that they don't want to take today.
Yeah, and deferred sales trusts, or DSTs, you know, us people in finance love our acronyms, DSTs. So these DSTs have a lot of benefits, right? Above just holding on to that real estate or the 1031 exchange, right? One of which is you don't have to reinvest it in a like kind property, okay? You know, in a 1031 exchange, you're essentially taking an illiquid asset, real estate, and you're reinvesting it in another illiquid asset, real estate. But in this situation, you have the ability to put it in the markets. You can buy bonds, you can buy equities, you can buy all sorts of things that help to transform that investment into something that is more liquid and more fits your family situation.
Yeah, like you said, there's no investment restrictions where the 1031 exchange there is. And I see this very applicable to those that maybe don't want to be landlords anymore. Like, who wants to, when they're 80, be dealing with tenants and toilet bowls overflowing and air conditioning's going out, right? Nobody wants to deal with that as they age. So I think it's a very, very nice tool to say, hey, I don't want to be a landlord anymore, and I can go and buy a bond and yield a similar yield that you are getting on that particular asset. And so I can go buy corporate bonds now, 7% or so, and you don't have any headaches. They're not going to call you up in the middle of the night and ask you to come fix the toilet.
Exactly, because if you talk to somebody who owns property and serves as a landlord as well, they'll tell you that is probably the least passive form of passive investing you can possibly have.
Yeah, everyone calls real estate passive income, but you know, how passive is it when you have tenants that you have to answer to?
Because personally, I'm a tenant. You know, I rent an apartment, and I know that I'm a nightmare to deal with. So yeah. I can only imagine there's probably people out there that are far worse than me.
Exactly. And I think another great benefit is having variability of that payment schedule. You know, if you are renting out your property, they're paying you once a month. Mm-hmm. And maybe that fits your income needs, and maybe not. Maybe you only need income once every 6 months, like a bond typically will pay. Or maybe you want something that, from a tax perspective, as a qualified dividend, right? Whereas if you're investing in a property, that's income to you, that's taxable income to you. So there's a lot of tax benefits in that sense as well. So what DSTs allow you to do is really take your assets and transform them into other types of assets that might fit your risk profile and your lifestyle needs. Exactly. So why don't you talk a little about how it works?
Yeah, of course. Well, you know, forming a DST is a little bit complex, but simplified by the people that have been working in the industry for so long, right? So essentially what you do is you're transferring this property, this business, into this trust with an independent trustee. That's important. So the trustee can't be someone in your family, someone involved with the business. It's an independent trustee, okay? So when they set up this trust, they essentially set up a note that tells you the schedule over which you're going to receive payments. And so long as you're not drawing down on the principal from the sale, you don't have to pay the capital gains, right? So if you're selling your business and you're not going to get payments for a year from now or 2 years from now, you're going to defer those taxes. So this is a good way to be able to, like we mentioned before, shift whatever you're investing in, shift that investable asset into something that better fits your situation in life now, while deferring taxes till later. And you know, one other benefit we forgot to mention too, is say you bought a building 40 years ago with some friends. And we all love our friends, but we all get annoyed with our friends after 40 years.
Mixing
right?
business and pleasure.
Mixing business and pleasure can never be a good thing. Sometimes it's a good thing, but most of the time it's a bad thing. So this offers you an opportunity to get out, right? So a 1031 exchange, not so much. You would have to keep the partnership intact. If it's owned by a corporation, the corporation would have to buy it. In this situation with the deferred sales trust, you can actually sever that relationship and do what's best for you. Because maybe 40 years ago when you were in your 20s and you bought this rental property with somebody else that needed some income, you guys had similar situations. But nowadays, maybe, you know, your last kids graduated from college and maybe you just want to spend some time vacationing with your spouse and your situation's a little different from there. So this really allows you to tailor to your specific situation what investments best fit your life.
And I know we talk about real estate here, but this can apply to a business, right? Maybe you had a a VC, right? A VC investment where you invest in a small company and that blew up and you have a huge return, and maybe you're lucky enough to do that. Or maybe you have a piece of artwork or cryptocurrency, right? All of this can be applied to deferred sale. Anything with a lot of capital gains, you put it in the trust and you do what you just explained. So I think it's a very interesting mechanism that a lot of people are going to start to explore and take advantage of, and as an alternative to that 1031 exchange. And we partner with the estate planning team and their professionals. And if you want to learn more, just head over to our website and fill out the form, and they'll run a full analytics on your particular situation and see if it's right for you.